So I really like the concept of nothing is free. You know, I like that concept of on this ride, on this journey of life, no one gets free lunches. No one gets, you know, handouts. And I started thinking about it, but I started thinking about it from a spiritual standpoint. And of course, the creator being the chief, the boss, and him assessing each one of us and saying, what do they contribute to the world? What is it that they're giving to the world? And I'm not talking about the man-made, right? The man-made contribution, because I know that there's a lot of people that will show up to work and they're getting paid to do very little, but they have managed to leverage the very little that they contribute for a lot of money. Whereas there's some people that give a lot that get compensated very little. And so I wanted to take that away, the idea of how much you get paid or your salary or your payroll is an evaluation of what you contribute to the world, and start to see it from the Most High's perspective. What does this individual contribute to the world? What are they doing? How are they helping mankind? What are they contributing? And I know that many of my ideas, many of my thoughts, you know, I've said that I motivate the motivators, I inspire the inspirers, and I give specific people, as long as it's done in a respectful manner, all access. There's like 2 people that I've given all access, like that I've said, anything that I say, you know, you have a bigger platform. Anything that I say, you can use, take it and run with it. Why? Because my heart is in the right place. It's about the message. It's not about me so much. It's about my fame or my popularity or the lack thereof. It's about the message. And even the ones that I don't consider my family, right? The ones that I've used the terminology, the nefarious ones. Well, if what I'm saying makes you start to question your contribution to humanity or lack thereof, or pricks your conscience in some kind of way, and the injustice that you've been serving, some words that come out of my mouth make you want to treat people better, make you want to be a better person, you know, I feel like I'm doing the work, you know, then my creator's pleased, regardless of my my paycheck or my salary or how much I make, you know what I'm saying? These kind of intangible contributions often may not get compensated in the way that we understand compensation from a worldly perspective. But have faith and understand that you are being more than adequately compensated and more than sufficiently taken care of by your creator, as long as you're doing the work. And so, you know, I say, hey, it is what it is, as far as the way that I see things. Now, the main reason why I'm like, and my son was making fun of me, talking about if Can I Ask to Speak to the Manager was a meme. I'm like, please, little boy. He said, if Can I Ask to Speak to the, can I please speak to the manager was a meme. I'm like, this boy is he's always got jokes about his mom. But I go to whoever is capable of determining, you know, the solution, deciding on the solution, because I don't have time to waste on middlemen. Like, I've noticed, you know, I'll walk into a lot of businesses, and this is part of the reason I hated my jobs, because sometimes you would go into work and there'd be nothing to do for like 3 hours, and you're like, why am I here? I felt like, ooh, that was probably the most irritating thing to me. That was like the most like you have me show up at 4 o'clock or 4:30 and there's no business until 7. And now I've just wasted 3 hours of my time where I could have been writing a song. I could have been making a video, motivating people. I could have been working on a recipe. Ooh, it used to aggravate me so much. And I've noticed, like, I'll walk into businesses and, like, everybody just be standing around. Like it happens often where I'll go into the bank or I'll go into, like, a certain business or whatever, and I'll be the only customer in there and everybody's just standing around. And it's like, man, like, you're at work, but you're just standing around. Like, that must suck. Not must, because I know how it feels when when that used to be me. Oh, that was the worst part of the job. That, like, probably worse than even dealing with management. Just standing around doing nothing. And what do they say? It's biblical. It's like, idle hands are the devil's work, or something like that. Some biblical. You guys know what I'm talking about. And these people are receiving a paycheck to just stand around and do nothing. And it's like, I have to analyze it and say, like, I don't know. That's just weird to me. And it's like, you go to Sprint, you go to, like, all these different companies, and you notice it's just like, have you guys noticed that? You'll walk in and you'll be the only customer, and it'll be like a bunch of people just standing around. And they clocked in at 9 or 10 or whatever time they were supposed to get to work, and they're putting in an 8-hour shift to just stand around. That blows my mind. Especially when there's so much work on this earth to do. Like, we got, like, global poverty, and we've got, like, some major global crisis. And I just think about all the people that are punched into their 9 to 5, just standing around. All of those wasted minds that could be used to contribute to society and come up with the next invention to solve something. And they're just standing around. You know, like this idea of, like, useless work. Like, that's kind of what our culture and society has become. Like a big cesspool of just, like, wasted minds. And I've told you guys, like, about this frivolous surveillance and things like that. Like, there are people that are punching the clock to watch people who are non-threats. Like, they're showing up to work just to, like, watch people who are non-domestic threats. Like, the idea just, like, blows my mind, you know? That this is what our society has become, and this is what our culture has become. It's very bizarre to me. It's very peculiar to me. That you want your citizens to be so unproductive. But then you have a stigma about somebody who's not punching the clock. Even if this person is putting out content to challenge the protocol, challenge societal norms, challenge the social structure that we have adhered to that doesn't serve us. This person is coming up with brilliant ideas and contributing intellectually to humanity tremendously, coming up with solutions to problems, and something that should be put value on, something that should be fiscally compensated a million folds. So to me, it's just, like, very reflective of an ass-backwards society. But why am I always, I go to the manager, I derived, but I go to the manager because I just don't have the time to waste, nor the desire to have a whole exchange with somebody who can't provide a solution. I'm solution-oriented. And I talked about the people who are standing around at work because they're bored. A lot of times, people start drama just because they're bored. They're so bored with their lives that they want drama. So people will pick fights just because they want drama. They just want to feel alive, right? And I think that whole idea of feeling alive is something that is intrinsic to us as human beings. Like, people want to feel passionate. People want to feel purposeful, you know. For me, you know, I said I wouldn't be in a relationship unless there was a lot of passion involved. I'm an extremely passionate woman. And so I couldn't be married or in a relationship with a boring man, you know. I'm extraordinarily, I have a lot of passion, but I channel my passion to my music. I channel my passion when, you know, in the future when I'm married, to making love to my husband, to things like that. But I think that it is natural for people to want to feel purposeful, want to feel passionate, want to feel invigorated. But what I'm saying is, why are you wired to use that passion and that fiery energy to destruction, rather than you could be passionate about a cause? You could be passionate about global poverty. You could be passionate about, you know, protecting children and assisting humanity. You could use that passion in a productive way, in a constructive way. And so, like with my neighbor, like I said, you know, this past year and a half I've been mourning, and I went out. Like I said, my last glass of wine I had was February 2020. I went out. It was late. It was about a month after my father had passed, and went, you know, to U Street, went to the bars with my friends, and I was just bawling. You know, people, it was like very tough to calm me down this particular night, because I was just riddled with grief. I was like, you know, it was a whole situation when I went to go bury my father. I didn't feel like I had a chance to really properly say goodbye to him. And I was told that the funeral, or the last day that they were gonna pull the plug, was on a Tuesday initially. And I flew out on a Monday, and then they pulled the plug while I was in midair in the flight. And I got the news on my layover. And so I never got a chance to say my goodbyes. And it was really just very tough time for me, very emotional time for me. So I was literally like this particular night, just bawling, right? Just talking, like bawling, like, Dad, 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 you know, crying. And not in my right mind. I came home that night. I left my purse and my boots outside of my door. And my neighbor, this Karen, decides to call the police on me. Not come up to my door and knock, right? And be solution-oriented and say, you know, I noticed that, is everything cool? Or write a note or send an email. She calls the police on me for leaving my shoes outside the door, my bag outside the door. As many times as I've seen her keys in the lock. And hey, you left your keys in the lock, right? Like, just being in the skin that I'm in, I've rubbed her the wrong way. I haven't even had like conversations with this woman, but just being in the skin that I'm in, just my vibe has rubbed her the wrong way. That she looks literally for any reason to try to call the police on me. Now, her incentive is to infuriate me, to make me angry, to make me rageful. Because you have to understand, when we talk about white supremacy, and we talk about hate groups, what is the name of the hate groups? What combines them is their love for hate. That's their common thread. Hatred. They're angry, they have hatred inside of them. That's who they are as people. And so her hatred for me, she goes and orchestrates a situation, many situations, covertly, constantly. It's an obsession of hers to try to antagonize me, provoke me continuously. Because her objective is she wants to see me go away, me go to jail, me whatever it is. Because she's so bothered by me just being in the skin that I'm in, just me being the woman that I am, rocking, you know, moving, doing what I do. It bothers her to such a degree. And it's become an obsession, you know. So what does that mean to me? It doesn't mean anything. You just understand that these people exist. It's just awareness. These type of people exist. This is who they are. What's that got to do with the song that I'm going to write? Right? What's that got to do with my work here on this earth? What's that got to do with my assignment from the Creator? All it does is bring me more awareness. Oh, okay, that's who you are. I get it. I don't have the time or energy to have that exchange with you, nor the desire. You're nobody to me. If this is my movie, you might be an extra who just walks in the back. You don't mean anything to me. So I'm not giving you my time. I'm not giving you my attention. I'm not giving you my energy. I'm not, none of that. We all have issues to work out on this earth, you know? Work out your issues. But people, what I'm saying is, people will deliberately do things, especially if they believe that you are reactionary. You want to be responsive and not reactionary. Because there are so many times that these silent third party, like I said, very nefarious individuals silently orchestrate these things. And they feed off of your rage, and they feed off of your energy, they feed off of your anger. You know, we watched this George Floyd situation happen, and everybody loved the idea of these people being so traumatized. You know, they love the idea of trauma. They love your tears. It's their reality show. Your trauma, your drama, your tears, your anger, your rage, that's the reality show. And so they'll deliberately orchestrate things silently to get a rise out of you so they can get their rocks off. This is how they're wired. Now, here's the other part of it. Because these people, they move in silence and they work covertly, they do things very underhandedly. Part of their disguise is to have the world believe that they are the sane ones, right? So when up is down, we're in a world where up is down, where forward is backwards, where right is wrong, everything is shifted, everything is the opposite. You have the insane pretending to be sane, right? You have the insane attempting to appear to be the sane ones. And these are psychopaths. These are sociopaths. So what do you do in this crazy world? You know, how do you navigate this? How do you I think the first thing is to be aware. And awareness is not synonymous with being fearful or paranoid or anything like that. Just being aware. It's just understanding your environment, understanding what you're around, understanding who you are around. And understanding that the only thing that really you have to focus on and put all your attention into is like your faith and your assignment from your Creator. Because understand that when you are given a specific assignment, you think your Creator is going to let you go down like that? You think your Creator is going to let you go out that easily? And you're making steps and you're making moves to fulfill your purpose from the Creator? You think He's going to allow some weirdos to take you out? That will never be the case. And for me, I'm just sitting back and laughing because the people that have been, planning my demise, they're on their way to their demise, So, I mean, for me, it's just like it's a win-win all the way around. Like I said, this is a jubilee, right? That right now is a celebratory time. It's a changing of the guards. And if you wonder what I mean by that, the world that I described, that I feel like is ass backwards, the Creator's fed up with this. The day of their rulership is done. The day of their reign is done. Because He's fed up with this. He's fed up with global poverty. He's fed up with people who have the capability to use their brains to create rockets, launch rocket ships, solve problems for incurable ailments. Like, our brains are amazing. Like, we can use our brains to, like, build sustainable living. Like, we can use our brains to, like, do anything that we want. We're so powerful as human beings. We can use our minds for anything. We can use our minds to cultivate the reality that we wish. We can use our minds to make our dreams come true. We can use our minds to manifest whatever we want, whatever we want. We have that power. We are so powerful. And our Creator is sick of it. Watching the beings that He created with these beautiful, amazing minds, using their minds to focus on things like gossip, stupid stuff. He's like, this is not what I created them to do. So it's time for them to go. The ones that are keeping up this crazy world, this crazy society. The ones that are invested in not in offering obstacles to people who are on their path to do the Creator's assignment. The ones who are entertained by madness, entertained by trauma, entertained by dysfunction. The ones who are orchestrating, like, deliberately people's like, dysfunction for their own sinister, you know, like, sinister fix that they get off of this crap. It's their time to go. And so what we're watching unfold right now, they're not gonna go out without a fight. They benefit from this. They're in too deep. They've taken oaths and codes. And by the way, don't you think it's kind of a little weird that the medical oath is called, like, the Hippocratic Oath or something like that? What's the medical oath? It's like the root word is hypocrite. I thought that was kind of interesting. And so, yeah, their time is done. And the thing about it is, they're not even, at this point, they're just like slaves to the machine. They're not even really, a lot of them aren't even really happy with what they do. They just don't know any other way. Like, they want out. You know, a lot of them want out anyways. And so, from a metaphysical level, what we see unfold is really actually them wanting out. Right? Because a guilty conscience needs no accuser. And so if you know what you're doing is wrong, you may subliminally and subconsciously set up situations to get found out, to get exposed. It's like you're self-convicting because you know deep down what you're doing is so wrong, and you know deep down that you deserve to be punished for what you're doing. And so subliminally, it may seem like you're making an asinine mistake that's going to get you caught, but really, like, subliminally, you deliberately sabotaged yourself because you self-convicted because you can't live with the guilt that you have for the things that you do. And so the whole thing is toppling over. It's crumbling down. And so I don't understand why people are so upset. They got their panties all in a bunch. This is a jubilee for me. This is a celebratory moment for me. I'm like, finally, changing of the guards. Get some righteous people up in here. You know, get some leaders that aren't down with, like, satanic cults. Get a president up in this country, you know. Or if Babylon falls, Babylon falls. We get a president in this country that's not, you know, down with some sort of satanic cult or some sort of, like, you know, pedophile operation or some kind of sick thing. You know, just get, like, a righteous person who actually cares about the people. Like, I don't know why that's too much to ask, you know, just finding, like, a righteous leader, like a good-hearted, good-spirited leader who actually really cares about people and isn't willing to do things, you know, in exchange for monetary compensation. It's all people really have been asking for. But it's also time for people to begin to lead themselves, you know. Like I said, if I was a thought leader, the main point I would make to people is to think for yourselves. And I made this point on IG. I don't really have the time so much to be watching reality TV like that. I gotta create my music. I gotta create these videos, the things that I like to do, express myself and whatnot. And so I don't watch TV like that. I do watch YouTube. I check out my favorite YouTubers consistently. But, you know, it's usually while I'm, like, doing something like braiding my hair or exercising or eating dinner or whatever. But anyways, you know, I used to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I really used to like it a lot. It was really entertaining to me. And, you know, I started to think about it. And as much as I, you know, I actually really like all of them. I like all of them. Like, I had a little, you know, and this isn't, I can't judge Cynthia by her daughter. Shout out to Noelle, but Noelle came to the bar one time. And Noelle, you know, attends Howard University, which is like a couple blocks away from me, Cynthia Billy's daughter. And she came to the bar one time, and my manager pulls me aside and says that, you know, watch out for her. That's Noelle. You know, she tried to order a drink last time. And, you know, I'm not trying to snitch on Noelle or whatever, but as a bartender, if we serve a minor, we can not only lose our bartending like license and never bartend again, but we also can actually be like legally prosecuted. Like we can receive legal ramifications, because if a minor who's 16 years old has a drink and then jumps it behind a car and gets in an accident, something happens, or hits, you know, vehicular homicide